intro.
All right.
I love
I
it.
wish people could actually see behind the camera, behind the scenes during that intro.
Yeah,
Maria's going to love it when she comes on for that dance off because we have a lot of practice going on.
for those that are listening, recorded March 29th, 2023. Good afternoon, Andrea. Good afternoon, Brody. Good afternoon, Rod. How's everyone doing?
Good afternoon.
Fantastic.
Super duper.
I want to hear what Andrea is doing.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
Yes, me too.
I am in Austin, Texas at the Miraval Resort and Spa, and thought I was going to be doing a lot of relaxing, but I've actually been doing more exercise than I usually do at home. So hasn't been the most relaxing vacation yet, but I did not want to miss our special guest today. So I dialed in for my vacay.
Very cool. Craziest thing. I'm like, Andrea has hacked all my stuff because I got an email from Apple said, "Tell me about your experience in Austin." I haven't been to Austin, but I went to Apple and I was working with someone named Austin. And I'm like, Andrea has my credit card. She's killing me down here. But yeah, good week for me. Microsoft Secure.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see two of the presenters that were prior guests this month on our show. That was outstanding. It was surreal just to see them live in action. They were the same way on our show that they were on the things. Really cool, right?
And who were they, in case they missed Secure?
Oh, well, that was Vasu and Maria.
Right.
And they came on and they had the same energy and the same enthusiasm. So I'm glad that we didn't get any less energy on our show that they displayed at Microsoft Secure, right?
Right.
Working on atypical stuff, billing. Had to ask a couple of questions. Roy helped me out about decommissioning stuff since I'm rebuilding my lab from scratch and trying to put a log collector on an unsupported Linux distro. I'm trying it out on Fedora. It works, but it goes back to that old thing: is it supported? Right. What else did I break today? Some MDE stuff. I'm actually got pulled into an MCAS conversation, and
I haven't heard of that product. It must have been
You did that on purpose.
Is that right? And then something I got to pick your brain about, Brody, that being able to get alerts for compliance alerts based around records information management. I think I asked you about that.
Super cool.
Something like that.
Cool.
So I opened my big fat mouth and said, yeah, it can be done, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm playing around in the lab on that. Other than that, the weather's back right. No more tornadoes, no more storms here in Georgia. I'm living.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Brody, what did you
man.
break?
I'll try to help you out. Well, I'm also trying to get some not records management stuff, but data loss prevention activity information to a log analytics workspace through a third-party GitHub that a customer's asking about, and running into some struggles. So trying to get that figured out. So maybe we could pick each other's brains there, Edward, and try to get that sorted. I gotta build out a lab that has a larger budget than the one that I currently have, one that has 4 times the budget, so that I can get more in depth into a lot of these scenarios that I'm coming across lately. So filling out the paperwork to get that done is going to be on my top list of priorities. Outside of Microsoft Secure and all the cool announcements everybody should check out, how cool is Copilot? Security Copilot. That looks super cool. Looks super cool. Come on, it looks cool. All right, let's just take away the is it accurate?
Expression. Look at Rod's expression.
Yeah, but like it looks cool. The interface looks tight. It's gonna help. Like I think I'm excited. It's obviously the ultra beta alpha version of the thing that's eventually gonna come out, but I'm pretty excited. I think it's cool.
People have already been asking me. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, the terms alpha and beta don't exist anymore. It's private preview and preview.
Right. Or we'll just test in production. Please sign up if you want to be part of the test group and provide feedback. Yeah. And something I didn't mention, Andrew gave me this super cool script to light up my my demo environment. I'm like, hey, do you have a script that lights up demo environment? She's like, yeah, I've got this super cool one.
Does she?
Gave it to me. And it's like, oh my God, good thing this wasn't hooked up to my domain controllers, because it's just like you start looking into it and it's like, oh my, this is like the script of scripts.
I ran it. I whacked my domain controller.
Yeah.
You clean it up. I just whacked it. That's the reason I was saying.
It's a
Because you think you got it out, and it's disabling sensors and adding stuff and directories, and that's it. Why did I let her run this in my lab? What was
just a
I thinking?
brute force with like all these common names on it and like password one. Like really, like okay, sure, yeah. Well, I want to detect a brute force
It's
attack.
definitely something that could be packaged up and sold. I mean, there are companies that charge for what Andrea wrote, and their
Yeah.
product is not as robust, right?
She sends it to me and she's like, anything I should add? I'm like, I think you've covered everything, but yeah, I'll think about something else.
And our script helped me find out that my MDI environment was broken
Oh,
because
perfect.
MDE caught it and MDI should have caught it, and which was the reason she asked me to run the script. And I'm like, why did MDI, Microsoft Defender for Identity, for those who don't like acronyms, why didn't it run it? It's because I forgot to update the packet capture from NPCAP, NCAP to WinPCAP, one or two. And so I just end up having to take the sensor off and put it back. And if you reinstall the sensor, it puts the right packet capture driver on it. So had I not run her script, I don't think I would have known because it wasn't reporting in MDI that specific sensor health issue. Oddly enough, it reported it after it though. But anyway, script is awesome.
Script is something. It's
We
a
can
big
call it
thing.
Hacker Copilot.
Yeah, and she's got all this
Ooh,
text in there. It's like, do not run this on Microsoft. You will be fired. Your ass will be fired if you run this in Microsoft. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Look
Is there a
inside
GitHub repo somewhere that I can share with the entire
world.
I
Yeah.
will take that.
Don't. I
No,
was like
it's
going to
fine. It's
recommend
fine.
a customer
I'm just
wanted me to
kidding.
light something up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's run this." I'm like, wait a minute, no. I thought you were in
Major
a test
breach.
environment.
Author or exploit is Andrea Fisher.
Yeah, it was like it's like a danger
Yeah.
script. Don't
Yeah, I wouldn't do
don't
that.
run it.
All right, Rod, your turn.
My turn. What is there left to say other than oh yeah, let's talk about where we are. We are on the final episode of our month of women in cybersecurity. If we go back, I'm gonna throw the schedule up here.
What
Here
a
it is.
month.
Right. If we go back right to March 1st, we had Maria Thompson. We'll talk a little bit more about how that kind of plays into next month here in a second, but that was an awesome episode. Vasu came on, right? The following week, we had Ann Johnson. Last week, we had Future and Laura. This week, we have, another guest. We've had 5 shows this month for women in cybersecurity. And if we go back and start thinking about all of that seems like a long time ago when Maria was on for some reason. But it's been
every
not
single
that
day
it was
a rock star. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And like Ed said, we had Secure yesterday, and Vasu and Maria, right? We're on in the real world. Well, I guess not. Maybe not maybe we're the real world, and what they do at Secure is kind of like, I don't know. That's what I'd like to think.
Scripted and on rails. Yeah,
maybe. But it's been an awesome month. I can't. Can't imagine it going any better, to tell you the truth. And ending with the guest that we have today, I think it's going to be super amazing. Next month, right, is our lead up to RSA. And I am super excited about that too. For those that may have missed March 1st episode with Maria Thompson, please go back and listen to that because she explains MISA, Microsoft Intelligence Security Association, probably better than I've ever heard it explained in my life. So that should be like on a Wikipedia page or something. But this is our schedule for next month. All of these are MISA partners, Defenda. I think the Ontanu thing is going to be interesting considering we have Copilot, Security Copilot coming out, and Ontanu is actually a subsidiary of OpenAI. So I don't know how many people actually knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Then since Servo will be here, Mark Shavlik, there was a old security companies Mark has been part of since the beginning of IT, right? Shavlik, patching and stuff like that. And then the last episode of next month will actually be from the floor of RSA. Mona will be with us, and she'll be on the floor from RSA. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. So that's what's going on next month. I think, though, more important to me today and probably this week is probably either the security stuff, the secure announcements that came yesterday, Copilot. I don't want to talk about that too much because it may get me to say something that won't be approved, but we'll just leave it there for another let's say, what is this, March? For about another 6 months, then we can talk about it maybe. We'll leave that there. But even more so, I think more important than that, today was super important because Pop-Tarts just announced that they've released banana bread flavored Pop-Tarts. So I'm on the hunt.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds really good, actually.
See, I don't know. I think it's.
Andrea, don't knock until you tried it.
I love banana bread, but
Me
I don't
too.
know, banana bread Pop-Tart.
Well, it's dehydrated banana slices, crushed between crust, dried old bread. You know,
Toasted.
oh, man, banana Pop-Tarts with banana beer.
With banana beer.
Oh, yeah.
Pina colada.
College meal. Hey, we have a guest in the green room, and we don't want to keep her waiting. It is a guest of Andrea, and also the entire thing. So, Andrew, you like to do the introductions to our famous guest?
Absolutely. We're so excited. We have Elizabeth Stevens on. Elizabeth is the director of Data Center Cyber Risk Intelligence, which is a mouthful.
Oh, my goodness.
She is going to be wrapping up, like Rod said, our Women in Cyber Month. And she is one of the coolest people that I think I have seen in cyber. Welcome, Elizabeth!
Thank you. And as always, Andrea, you are obviously the best of the best here because, you can get me on camera. Oh, that's nice too. You're obviously unmatched in the space.
Oh, smooth talker.
Yeah.
She really does want those snacks.
Security goddesses unite.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Look, let's just be honest. My blood sugar's a little low. Not a lot of food around in preparation. But hi everybody, it's me, Elizabeth Stevens. I use she and her pronouns. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I can give a little bit about my background, and then we can talk about whatever it is that you crazy people want to try and ask me while I social engineer you. But so my name is Elizabeth Stevens. I use she and her pronouns. I'm currently the director of Cyber Risk Intelligence under CO plus I, so Product and Innovation. Our job is to successfully and precisely identify and utilize information, so that's data, physical, logical, any information to include human, in order to inform our leadership so that they can make data-based decisions based on the threat, based on the risk, and even based on the business, which I know is absolutely unusual. Our drive and our goal is all about the one thing that we need to do is protect life. And the way that we do that is we protect our resources, we protect our data centers, we protect our information / data, especially with AI coming in. And we do that in a way that allows for us to be agile with the intent of trying to get ahead of the attacker and the threat. And honestly, out of our own way as well.
So that brings up a good thing. Maybe we can talk about this a little bit later. I want to put a little pin in that. I'm sure other people have questions. I want to know what your customers are asking about securing AI. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
Just ask it now. You already asked it. What do you think?
No. He wants to pin it down. Let's pin it
All
later.
right.
I want it to be appropriate at the right time because
yeah.
She's given a background, but she didn't mention that she has the dubious distinction of being the third pilot on our show.
That's
You're the
right.
third.
Yeah, but the best also, correct?
Well, they're probably listening.
I mean, so my real name is Major Elizabeth Cracker Okoriba, and I retired from the United States Marine Corps in 2015. I flew the mighty Battle Frog, the CH-46, deployed 3 times to Iraq, did a bunch of stuff that I probably shouldn't have done. Then, as apparently you get more responsibility and less flight time, I retired and started looking for a second life in first civ, which is what we called it at that point. The one thing that I can say is that as the best pilot on the show, Marine Corps aviation is, while not necessarily the same, is definitely the most fun. And, it's also great to talk about. And then it's why I'm still doing the work that we do now. So A lot of people don't think that there's a connection between fighting battles and flying airplanes, building things so you can blow it up. But the truth is, it comes down to the same thing. Marine Corps pilots want to protect and serve, right? It's the only military. I mean, they're all good military, but the United States Marine Corps is hard for me.
Jock was Air Force, and
no. Hey, don't say it. For our listeners, if you can remember if you can name all 3 pilots who have been on our show, I will send you a Must Learn KQL mug.
Oh,
okay.
Go back through the show.
I think another thing Elizabeth did not say is she's a Naval Academy grad. Is that right?
That is correct. I am also a Naval Academy grad, Boston University grad. Does that count? That may not count. USF grad.
She went through the academy midshipman, and then she got to the end and she went to the wrong way.
Oh my God!
I'm ex-Navy, so
I'm not like it's never again volunteer yourself, sir. Thank you for the ride.
Thank you for the ride.
No, it's a deep place in my heart, but I looked horrible in summer white, right? So I couldn't go with that white uniform.
I get it. No, I'm taking. I take all the squid jokes and bubblehead jokes and all that other stuff. And I've done some stints with Marine Corps security detachments. Huge respect for those who just are crazy.
We like to think that we're innovators and have no sense or calibration for like safety.
That's a thing. Yes. Okay.
But at the same time, again, just like cybersecurity, just like what we're talking about today, women in history, it's really about like identifying other people's talents and encouraging and enable them to work in the way that's best for them. Like we can't do, and thank you for your service, by the way, Ed. We can't do the job that we need to do as cybersecurity professionals, or even in our job, like providing services to our customer. For me, it's protecting capacity. We can't do any of that if we don't have the right resources and the right culture to be able to make that happen. And I want to give a shout out to all of the military members out there. There's a place for you here at Microsoft. I can raise my hand and make that shout out. But the other thing that you get when you're here, so I left, I was ready to retire. I don't miss being in the military for sure. I miss my Marines. I do. And who doesn't miss flying since COVID? But like what we get to do here is serve in a completely different way and in a global way, right? So from a perspective of like, what is it that we do and how we do it? Like my passion and my expertise is in operationalizing the way that we do security using Sentinel, Siemens SOAR. If we're talking Zero Trust, establishing that strategy for our customers as well as our own data centers. From a perspective of risk intel doesn't make decisions, we inform the decisions and enrich the decisions. But big picture, like this is a passion that you don't lose. And I know that Ed can talk about this. So it's not just, this is what I do at Microsoft. It's also, I'm a national security fellow with the Truman nonprofit, right? And what that means is not only do I get to bring like the magic of Microsoft, right? Like all of you are so smart, like Ann Johnson from the show. Every time I see her speak, I come up with another, like, I should have said that. And, and then seeing Vasu, I'm like, man, I gotta get better posture. But like, but like everyone that comes, like every person that I come into contact with, like just about every single person. When I left the Marine Corps, I was like, I'll never find a family like that again. I was honestly like, what are we gonna do? Civilians don't do anything. And then, and for about a year, I did underwater basket weaving. But when I came to Microsoft, the thing that like is most amazing to me, especially with AI, especially with the stuff that we're doing, is not just that people have a passion and an expertise around these areas, but that they're willing to leverage that passion and help other people, both inside and outside of Microsoft, do the same thing. And like my passion's around critical infrastructure for a very specific reason, right? Like for me, cybersecurity is real. I'm an infrastructure person. That's how I learned about Cisco routers and switches. Like I did graduate from the Naval Academy in 2020, right? Like a long time, don't do the math, a long time ago, right? But by the time I got to Microsoft, I was like, I know PowerPoint. What's this? And then, I'm not even kidding. My architects loved me. But then like I was in secure infra. So I came into Microsoft as a PM, not as a cybersecurity professional, in sales, where I learned how we deploy. And I met a bunch of amazing people, but I was, bored. The Marines out there that are listening right now, they know what I'm talking about. And so I learned everything that I could. And then the next job, I was a DMM, which means I had a team to run, which was amazing. And then I became a director of delivery management. And this is all at Microsoft, right? So I've only been here 7 years. But then I was a director of delivery management. And then I was a business manager. Then I was a chief of staff. I've been a senior software engineer where they let me put my hand on people's code, like production. It was amazing. I doubt your judgment.
I'm feeling like an amazing underachiever. I've been
Me
here
too.
years, and
I feel like I want to go outside and just do something. I don't know what.
When you look, some of us say, so in the Navy, you had the opportunity to drive a thing. Most of the Marines have to actually walk or run. It's hard to throttle it back. See, that's the pilot thing right there where I said throttle it.
Yeah, full speed ahead.
Down here, right?
I'm from a different type of Navy, not that Navy. I choose the most illogical piece. I used to be on ships that went on the water on purpose.
That's not okay.
Well, I think it's a personality thing too, Elizabeth. So when you think about it, you just seem like a very, very driven person. I mean, you spent how long in the Marines, right? You re-upped, right?
Retired.
A long time.
Retired.
And then it sounded like you said you got out of the Marines like, oh no, what am I going to do? But you found your passion, right? You joined Microsoft and kind of.
Well, and that's what it was. So I would say it's a little different for me because like I always have passion. Like that's how I live my life, right? It's about finding the things that are important to you, circa the Marine Corps, and like growing up in Tennessee and having a family like my own, right? My father's from Ghana and West Africa. My mother's from the United States. All of the things that I did led me to going, hey, what else is out there? What else can I do? And how can I be the best me? The thing that I got when I came to Microsoft, because I came out of the Marine Corps having changed the world, right? And the Marines that were with me, like literally changed the world.
Where can you go after that, right?
Yeah. And so you were like, what am I going to do? Honestly, I figured I'd like eat bonbons on a couch or something. But like that lasted for 5 minutes. Five minutes. But like the point wasn't that I got to Microsoft and I was suddenly like, ooh, this is amazing. It was a speech that Satya made about empowering everyone. Like it was one of the early Satya speeches. And the way that he talked about cricket and where he wanted to take the company was a catalyst, right? Like it reignited that spark. I was like, I can make a difference there. And not only can I make a difference, but I can make a difference in a place where I can learn the new skills and leverage the old skills and be around people that make me smarter to be around, even if they are in the Navy or,
Well, my question would be, you did answer a lot of gaps and you've already answered like 4 questions I had because I was trying to figure out the transition from military to civilian and then from what you did that doesn't have a direct correlation to anything in Microsoft that I know of. But you gave me a great roadmap, gave us a great roadmap of how you got to where you are. My question would be, you said something, your passion is you didn't say superpower, but your passion is your enabling theme that allows you to achieve the things that you want to do. How do people who have similar passion, because we all do in some form of fashion, how does that passion get recognized if someone gets a chance, especially someone that is female, a person that is of color, and a person that is female and of color, right? How can I project this passion that will allow someone to give me a chance to come in and get into cyber? Because we always hear, I want to do it. I don't know how to get in. And I see how you got in, but that may not be atypical for what the current environment is. Do you have any advice?
I do have a lot of advice, and it's demographically spread as well. I mean, I think I appreciate the compliment. I think for me, the thing that I would say is don't let anyone tell you that you can't. Every door that is closed that you knock on, like it could open. And for some of us that are the less advantaged demographic, those doors close fairly quickly and fairly often. And sometimes we end up having to kick them open. And so for like the military members, so those veterans, I call out to you in solidarity. There is a place for you here. What you need to do is connect with some of us that are already here so that we can translate, like blood on the white collar, what you do in the language that you understand so that you know the value that you bring and you don't make the mistake of assuming that you're less than because you didn't come out of corporate. For those of you that feel like you haven't ever seen yourself in this role, my major in college was English literature. I wrote my capstone on the Dark Knight series. It was amazing. I'm a really good like comedic writer, by the way, in case you guys want to check me out sometime. But like I am an engineer. I have no software engineering experience in my background. And the way that I got it, like, yes, I came in as a PM, would never recommend that, but I came in as a PM. And then I started looking around and I learned everything that I could. And the things that I was interested in, the people that were with me that I could trust, yes, some were Marines, yes, some were Air Force, and there was definitely a bunch of Navy people, but I didn't want to get at that point earlier. What they did was, as we looked for help and we understood each other's language, we also explain to each other what it was that we needed to do to understand the value and to receive the value from the people that work with us. Now, that doesn't work for everybody. So again, reach out to us. We're here. We've got the military at Microsoft ERG. We've got the women at Microsoft ERG, and we got the blacks at Microsoft ERG. Now, I know I've been talking a long time, but I really want to say this because you asked the right question, Ed.
Well, it was great. And I'm telling you right now, I'm trembling because it's taking every bit of my irresistible, unimaginable power tonight. Take this conversation off the rails and talk about Frank Miller in The Dark Knight.
Okay.
If I do that, Andrew's going to kill me. We have to talk after this. I am a
We'll definitely talk after. I'll be like, my parents are both engineers. They did not like the fact that I went to an engineering college and took a humanities as a major. It was not a good look. It was very dark for a period.
I prefer Frank Miller Daredevil, by the way.
Daredevil wasn't bad.
We can definitely talk.
Yeah.
200, right? Okay.
So for people in our community, right? I say I had missed one group, right? So for my people of color, the broad diaspora, for us, cybersecurity is a significant issue. The issues outside of the attacks happening every day are that our population is disproportionately affected by the failure of the critical infrastructure. So when you hear companies talk about their data centers being attacked or the water supply being attacked, everyone's thinking about the actual data centers or the actual water, or what is Microsoft going to do, or what is whoever else going to do about this. Sony, you name it. But the truth is, and the thing that we miss because we don't have the education, and honestly, a lot of the documentation and the stuff that's meant to help jumpstart people is not accessible to us, is that everything that we need as a community is attached to these systems. Your healthcare, your finances, your cell phone service. Sometimes, I mean, if you're into the tech now, everyone has a cell phone. Most people have Alexa, who might talk to us, Siri in the room as well. Like, I'm platform agnostic. There's all kinds of voices in my head. I mean, around the house. And so what I'm saying, like what I'm doing and what I'm doing for not just my community, but for all of us is going, hey, this is what the documentation is. This is the free services. These are the things that we can go do. This needs to be popular and a part of our communal culture. I want us to take things like the KC7 game, the free training at ISC, and instead of kids going, like, and I say kids because like my nephew's like 21 and I've got like my kids and my brother's 17 years younger than me. I want him to walk into the room while I'm taking a practice test and go, well, are they talking about layer 7 or layer 6? Or I want my 6-year-old doing TikToks about like supply chain attacks. Like instead of, not just if I love basketball, we always going to play basketball, but instead of having people like talk about stuff that they don't understand, I want it in our language and I'm willing to do the work. Oh, look.
Hello.
This is Samantha.
Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha.
Hey, baby. I saw you sleeping. Can I have a hug? We're talking about cybersecurity. You want to go lay back there?
I love the hair.
I love you. Yeah, I have a Shaka Khan in the house. For those, I just aged myself. Didn't I just age myself? I told everybody.
You're good. You're good.
Hey, Ed, your microphone's on your head.
Nah, yeah, bring it down. Bring it down. My whole point is like, hey, everybody, like, regardless of what community you're in or how you approach it, this is stuff that's important to you. We can't defeat the attackers with technology alone. We can only defeat it, and it's not an attrition warfare anymore. But if every single one of the people, like all the kids, the 6-year-old right there, my micro mini me, and all of their teachers, and even people that are like, I don't know what to do in tech. I've never had a computer. If they can get this information and use this information to protect themselves. Like we're talking Siemens SOAR, and someone's like, "What the heck is Sentinel? Is that S3?" So this kid, that's not cool. I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to create content like that. But have all the kids, have everyone, whether they went to school, whether they have like good internet bandwidth, have everyone doing this in a way that speaks to them, so that they know that this is a part of who they are and what they can be. And for me, it's more important because we don't reach out to the places that we need to reach out when we're thinking about the legislation and the technology and the work. I mean, I'm proud of the Defender brand, because when I first got here, and they're young but they're good. When I first got here, I was like, what even is this? And over like a 2 to 3 year period, right? Over a 2 to 3 year period, they went from going, oh yeah, we're building it on the best thing ever, da 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 da, to start talking about like, hey, well, can we use this in this situation where these people would only have this type of bandwidth, or it's not the new fangled computer. That's the kind of thing that we talk about for, like, people say it's diversity and inclusion, but it's actually not. It's the high performance mindset. It's operational risk management. It's true resource management. You know about that, Ed. True resource management. If we can get past all of our biases, we can do this, and we can do it better than the bad guys. Now, everything I have ever put on
Yeah.
We definitely can. We just have to make sure that we create the environment that allows the maturation of natural talent and passion.
I would say more than maturation. I'm saying, like, I'm in risk intel, so I can sound salacious, right? I'm saying that we need to mobilize every person that we can,
Yeah.
so that they can make a choice for themselves, whether they become hacktivists or defenders.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I want to change your history a little bit. You made a comment that you went to school at the academy.
It's killing me.
Made,
It's so funny.
Y'all didn't tell Brody what to
This is the
expect.
best interview.
what's the problem? Is there a cat running across my keyboard? What's the joke today? Brody, you're gonna get it. So my question to you is this: you were an English major and you went into the military.
Mhm.
Do you believe you could have achieved what you now are doing had you not had the military as part of your background, your makeup? Was that something that if you had the opportunity, knew more about information technology? I don't know when you actually attended academy and graduated and all that, but do you believe that the military was necessary for your success that you recognizing now? Or could you have said, if I'd had the right thing, I probably would have started off in information technology and already been in it? Even if I had joined the military, I would have been in information technology.
So I should have known this is where the conversation was going to turn, Ed. Okay, that's a hard question, but it's a good one. So for me, like, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee with my family, right? Like, again, I'm going to age myself. Most of y'all won't remember like the Commodore keyboard computer.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, I remember that.
Got a couple grandpas.
Everybody on the call is of age except for Brody.
Except for Brody. Yeah, you may have to explain things in detail for Brody, but we can do that after.
Floppy disk,
right? Like, I mean, sorry, buddy. But like, so I grew up, like, we didn't have, like, honestly, like, you look where I grew up, we didn't have a lot. Okay, Orange Mound, Tennessee, they rock it. We've got family, we've got drive, we're catalysts, we're powerful people in that space, but we didn't have much other than each other. So of course we had skill sets that were built around engaging with people, understanding people, mobilizing people. What I got out of the Marine Corps was a sharpened drive to get her done, and this. I even hate to say it because I'm thinking of Colonel Osborne right now. My first combat CO. This sharpening of the desire and need to function in a way that you can bring all of the best of you while also enabling the best of others. Could I, Elizabeth Okoreva, um, have been in IT first without the Marine Corps? Absolutely. To be honest, I should have been. I should have been, right? But that wasn't a path that was even available to me. Like, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, so my young years are in Memphis, Tennessee. But computer, who are you kidding? I barely got to watch TV. And then, I went to a magnet school. I had good parents and good grandparents and a good community that I was raised around. But a magnet school is meant to bring people together and accelerate them. It was it was an arts and math magnet school. So math, that made sense to me. Music, that made sense to me. Debate didn't really make sense to me, but I was good at it, so I did it anyway. Right. And what I got was, especially right up to going to the Naval Academy, was it doesn't really matter where you go or what you do, just go and do it. And that's what growing up here, that's what growing up around the people that I've been around. It doesn't matter what the past looks like. It doesn't matter where you grew up or what you're doing now. If you decide tomorrow that you want to do something else, just try to do it. Now, there are things that are well outside of our ability, outside of our control, but that doesn't mean that you can't do what you can do.
Yeah. So, I think we've heard from every guest that we've had on this month. That's kind of the same thing that's resonated, is most of them have pivoted into something else, right? And they had someone that pushed them along. They had good mentors, but they were able to do that thing that they had never done before. I think that's really something important.
It's only impossible until you do it. Plus a little Southern Belle charm helps.
Southern Belle. Yeah. My mom's family was from Tennessee, so I know. Morristown, Tennessee. You familiar with that?
I am.
Yeah.
It's a small place, bro.
We used to go down there, and I'd get in trouble. My mom would make me go out in the woods and cut my own switch so she could whip me with it. So
front porch.
And of course, I would joke with her, and I'd bring back a log, and that would get me even more in trouble. So I'd have to get 2 switches.
Oh yeah.
Probably shouldn't have done that.
There you go.
Elizabeth, two questions. One, can I just message you on Teams whenever you need a pep talk in life, because you're the best? Yeah. All right. So that's all. Okay. Okay. Crazy question. A little different than what we've been talking about. Tomorrow, you are the SAR of cybersecurity for critical infrastructure in the United States of America. What is the first thing you do to have positive change and secure our infrastructure in? I'm in Canada, but it's important, this whole continent, right? How do you affect it? What do you do?
I hire, walk with me here.
Walking with
I hire LeBron James's agent to run the coolest, most hippest social media campaign that leverages tournament style 3-on-3 court basketball to go to every single community to hit 1 million kids educated and enrolled in cybersecurity programs at the grassroots level in 1 year.
I love that answer.
That's what I'm gonna do. And once we get it rolling, I'll also reach out to our friends overseas, and then we can hyperlink them and teach these kids not just the language or the words or what they have to do or what they can't do, but teach them the capability set, right? And it's not just children for me, honestly. I gotta be every single one of you out there that's I don't have a high school degree, or I didn't finish school, or I don't read so well, or I don't understand computers. That's not true. It's not.
So LeBron's agent is actually Rich Paul. He's still in Cleveland. We may have to
get him on the show.
Look, it's Rich.
There you go. I'll make sure he gets that.
But and the truth is, if I had what I wanted, because what I get tastes of it, right? With you, with the ERGs, with the community meetings, the ability to go show someone. The reason that I've attached, so KC7 is Attack Kill Chain 7 game that was made by one of our Mystic personnel. His name is Simeon. And the idea was that he wanted a way to be able to deploy an environment without using other people's data, because that's an issue, so that they can teach people the threat hunt. And that's what they've done. And so what we've done was, when I met Simi and the team, super excited, ran myself and my 9-year-old through the scenario. I was like, if we could just change the language, if we could make it more accessible, then everybody can do it. And so Simeon says his dream is that like KC7 introduces the rest of the world, and they've been doing great so far, volunteerism. But if we can take programs like that, and even like some of the organizations out there that are doing a really good job at it, but they're only doing it for like one of the companies, I want to say Synthesis, they're only doing it for paying customers. If we could expand that program and have all the kids that like go into a schoolroom. If you need me to ride in a bus, like it has to be a nice bus though, because like I don't do camping. That's not my thing. I did that for too many years in the military. Like I'll take a bus with all the computers and the internet that we need, and I will drive around this country and do sessions for every single school if we can get this done. But that's the kind of thing that we have to do, right? And it's not about, and I'm saying this because I'm passionate, because cybersecurity and Microsoft gave me an opportunity to change the world again. And when I say that, I'm not saying like I'm a badass pilot. I'm a badass Marine, honestly. I am.
I believe you.
I'm this Call of Duty avatar, right? But like the things that I did, like the thing that people, my individual air medal is for on the night of the night before the first Iraqi election. It was horrible weather. I was in Al Taqaddum, Iraq with a bunch of people, with my squadron, and all the other helicopter squadrons were, and this is not the Osprey. This is not the cool helicopter. This is God's helicopter, the CH-46, which is like a smaller variant of like the Chinooks that everybody sees. So just imagine littler with one lift engine. So agile, but we can't fly that far. So the weather was bad. Like it was like 75 degree feet of like sandstorm, and it was nighttime. And it wasn't my turn to fly, but the mission had to happen. My squadron was like, okay, what are we gonna do? I was actually out like messing around doing stuff that little lieutenants and captains were doing in the war, probably at the gym, honestly. And my CO, Colonel Osborne, who I mentioned before, and then now Colonel Jones, then Major Jones, who's one of my Marine Corps grandfathers, called me in and they said, hey, we need somebody to fly this mission. How can we make this mission work? And I was like, everybody's going to die.
Whoa.
Like, you're not going to be able to, the weather is bad. We don't have visibility. Our radar altimeters, which is how we tell how far we are across the ground, plus or minus 25 feet. The bad guys know where we're flying. It's not like we're flying over the desert. We're going from, hey, well-lit city, take off. 20 miles down the road, hey, we're going to land at another well-lit city in the middle of like bad guy territory. And so what he said to me was that we have to do it. And Ozzy, for me, so it's Colonel Osborne, he for me was the person that said, Cracker, you're a blue collar pilot. And I was like, what does that mean? And he goes, you're willing to get your hands dirty just so you can make sure you're doing the right thing. And to me, what that meant and what I took away from that was, okay, this is a bad idea, which is why I'm still in risk. This is a horrible, horrible, bad idea, but we have to do it. Okay, this is how we do it the best way.
Best way, yeah.
Right. Best way. We might make, so there's a chance. And so, like, terrified, right? Captain Elizabeth O'Cory-Bah, Cracker at that point, is like, okay, let's go, sir. Who's coming with me? He's like, pick your crews. And already had a combat crew, and then Colonel Jones and one of the other lieutenant colonels. We all got strapped in, did the brief, did the stuff, and then we flew for what we thought would be approximately 2.5, 3 hours to carry stuff back and forth, which turned out to be 12 to 14 hours of flying stuff back and forth, 2 aircraft over a very small period of, over a very dense.
I love hearing other military branches give their stories about crazy mission objectives and having to decide to either convey a bad idea.
Who else is trying to do it?
Well, I convinced my navigator that we could keep out 600 feet of seawater pressure with duct tape.
So strangely,
Yeah, I remember you brought that memory back.
no, but like that's
This
it
is a
though,
bad
right?
idea,
Scary.
but
Not a
it'll
great
work though.
idea. It was still stupid though. No, it wasn't stupid. Like, it was good. It was good. I don't take away my air metal. I kind of don't want to have to redo the wall, but like,
You'd be
no,
surprised.
You did
But
it.
no,
you
yeah.
have to
So
have
the
those.
concept is, well, right, but like the concept was, this is stupid, but we're gonna go. We all know it's stupid. Everybody knows this is stupid. It's for a good reason. We're all in it together. And so we jumped in the plane.
Mm.
It was. I'm not gonna lie to you. At one point, I told the colonel, like I'm a young captain. I'm like, sit on your hands, right? And there was stuff happening. We got sent to a zone to pick up, and I kid you not. So we're carrying around election ballots. We're carrying around election officials. We had to go back to an LZ because someone lost. They forgot to pick up their sea bag, and it had one of the computers in it. That this was not military ed. You know the people I'm talking about. And so like some of the stuff that we were doing out there, I'm like, yeah, we got this. And then there were some things that we had to do because we were out there that were amazing because we were in the right place to do a thing that made sure that like people came home, right? But it was
Well,
terrifying. It was traumatizing. Um, There's probably a lot of beer or shots actually. No, I think this is why I started drinking my head.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, we got back and it wasn't so much that the thing that I had to do didn't work. We had to explain to the higher ups, you did what?
You did what?
But I had a good XO. My
Yeah.
XO was rock solid.
Well, and that's what I say too. You need the right leadership, right? Because I had to trust
That's
and
where I was going.
obey.
The right
You got to
leadership.
have the right leadership. And here, I say that like that changed the world. Like I enabled the first ever Iraqi election, right? That shit's fucked up. I'm sorry for cussing, but like, my brain is exploding right now, right? Because I don't talk about this. It's all because of Brody smiling at me that I'm talking.
I'm
like
hanging
it.
on every word, Liz.
Yeah.
It is awesome. But let me ask you a question here. Let's go back to this.
Oh
This
no,
is
you
all.
asked the question. I did. You let me ramble, so I told a sea story like an old folk and didn't answer the question.
Oh no.
Wait.
I'm
All right, get out of your rocking chair. He's going to ask you a more modern question.
just so you know, I'm the king of ramble on this show. I can take a one-word question and we can talk 3 hours about it. All right. So my question to you is this: cybersecurity still seems to be that shadow thing. Like when you tell someone you're in cyber, the first thing they go, "Oh, you're a hacker." No, it's not sexy.
Yes, it
I
is.
I think people think it's cool.
Dude, what? How are you doing cybersecurity? Because like it's sexy on my side of the fence.
I don't know.
No,
I'm in a different thing because
okay.
sometimes it's cool. I won't
Moderate
ever
sexy
say
over here.
it's
Moderate
sexy.
sexy.
Sometimes it can be mysterious.
It's mostly mysterious.
Oh,
Yeah.
we now have our show title.
What's that? No, wait a
Being
minute.
cyber sexy.
Cyber sex.
Super sexy.
So, how do you evidently whatever you've conditioned yourself to say it is sexy or cool or whatever else. But I'm hearing all the good stuff. Give me your frustration.
Oh my God, the frustration is that there's so much, right? Like you can look at this as if so. I did that one thing in the earliest days of my military career. Like I did a bunch of other things after that, right? A bunch of other things, right? I got to Microsoft, and we're talking about 2017, an Azure outage, and someone that I'm working with who's been on trying to work this outage for like 12, 24 hours. We've been there together. He's like, I can't believe they have us in here working just to keep these kids playing their video games, right? And I turned to him and I was like, the women and children of San Antonio, the WIC Center, the cards that the teenage girl or boy, the parent of a kid who's promised themselves that they'll never let their child go hungry, can't use that effing card. They just got to the store and they can't feed their kid. And so, from my perspective, all of our job is to democratize this. In my world, what we're doing, it's the same as the Iraqi elections. It's the same as all of the missions that I've flown. It's the same as volunteering to do STEM events. We have a responsibility for all of them out there to make this understandable, to democratize it, to talk about it in a way that we didn't in the past, because just like we used to do moat in traditional cybersecurity, we also said, pull up your boots and do it yourself. That's not what the bad guys are doing. That's not what the attackers are doing. They're powerful, they're fast, they're innovative. Half of them probably came from the layoffs at this point. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I say that in a like funny kind of way because the government everywhere right now is scared. What happens during time, and I say this too, so I'm in cyber risk intelligence. What I do is collect information and then frame it in a way that applies to how we operate. My frustration is never around cybersecurity and the job. My frustration is around castle and moat people resisting maneuver warfare and agility. Castle and moat people going, oh yeah, firewall will take care of that. And when you say, hey, that firewall won't work if this, and they go, no, I'm just firewall, right? So we have to go, this is the game, right? Like it's not capture the flag. This is more like some kind of high speed, low drag unicorn card game. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, the game is changing, so we got to change too. But that's the point. Come to Microsoft or anywhere else.
And I think being at Microsoft, we've kind of injected ourselves or put ourselves in that position where we have to have that discussion with customers. Yeah. We have to, because we have our security products and our security platform. We have the AI stuff coming up, and people are well, I don't know how interested they are really, but people are interested. Yeah. But it seems like we have to have that discussion with customers, right? Because we have products that affect every single customer that is out there.
With great power comes great expectations.
And responsibility.
I don't know about responsibility sometimes. But being in the military, I learned the distinct difference between responsibility and accountability.
Indeed.
My CEO explained that to me. You messed this up, you're responsible, but I qualified you, so I'm accountable. So tell you what's going to happen, Mr. Walton. I'm like, here we go. But I think it's a great expectation, and sometimes the responsibility is sort of, people just say, well, we that is just a given, right? I'll give you an example on that. It is expected that if we're creating these things, that they work, but it's not Microsoft's responsibility that you deploy these things.
Yeah,
we're going to offer them to you, but we still have people who have bought our licenses who have not deployed, who don't do best practices, who still are not running MFA, who still are not doing these things. So I can't be responsible for that, but I can take on the onus of being expected to provide you the tools and the guidance necessary to achieve the mission. One thing I like about talking to military individuals that are in our industry, they always refer to everything as the mission.
Love it.
Not a project, not a task, it's a mission, right? And I'm not going to give away our two other guests, but when I think about everybody we had on the ex-military, they always say the mission. Right? And so
I will also say the opinions of Edward Walton are not necessarily the opinions of everyone else on this podcast.
Claim. I am only speaking for Elizabeth Stevens. I don't know.
What did I say that someone wants to give a disclaimer? I'm just saying.
I don't agree
Liz,
with
you're good. Liz, you're good. Liz, you're good.
I think it's this. I think it's that cyber is sexy. I think that's what it was.
Oh, cyber super sexy.
No.
Well, it's
no, Ed, you're correct. Like what you're talking about is the difference between us. So is it the industry? Like that's how I see it. People, process, and tools. For me, it's mission first, people always. Like straight out of the Marine Corps. Mission first, people always. Which means that like when we go to deploy these tools, when we go to sell the tools, we also need to provide people with like the CISO workshop or the way to work. Like we can have a choice. Like our entire industry, we can choose to do this in a way that's accessible. We haven't yet. Now, with AI and some of the other things that are going on, the innovations in this race, Maybe we will. But again, whether it's in government or in Microsoft or in any other startup, the idea is like we're a leader for a reason, right? So
speaking of these innovations, I mentioned the AI stuff a little bit earlier. What are you hearing from your customers? Because I would really, really love to hear your take, particularly from a government perspective, because some customers, oh, they're all in, but then other customers are very hesitant and they're kind of waiting for us to provide some kind of guidance and tell them that everything is okay. But at the same time, what are you hearing from your customers?
I'm not sure that I would say everything is okay.
Yeah.
AI is so artificial intelligence is a thing that. So now I'm going to geek out a little bit, but
please.
Artificial intelligence is a thing. Where we are right now is like an Asimov nexus, right? This is the moment in time where either we've just created Skynet and, hey, you guys, next time we come back to year 2023, right? Or it's the moment that we'll look back on and go, this is when it all changed, right? This is what changed the history of the human race.
Yeah.
AI is a tool. The horse and buggy were a tool. The automobile is a tool. The computer is a tool. What AI is going to do for people is incredible. Productivity, but just like the telephone, just like the internet. The thing that is worrying people is that they don't understand what it is, especially with ChatGPT out. They don't understand how it works. Some of the businesses, those of us that care about national security, the real question is how's it going to be used? Like, what do we need to do to prepare and be prepared? My perspective and what I share with my customers and anyone, honestly, is know yourself first. So know your organization, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know your opportunities, right? Then know your resources. So know your truth, again, straight out of the Marine Corps. Actually, I should be doing this because I'm mirrored, right? Know your truth, know your resources. So know the skill set, build a capability in the actual people so that even without tools, they can still protect the space. And then know your job. Understand where the things that you're doing for the business actually meet the things that your partners are doing for the business. And then bring all that together in a way that allows you to think about how AI has been integrated or will be integrated for you in the future. Because it's going to change. It always does.
Yeah, I think there's a little misconception. I do, because when we think about this large language model, that's literally all it is. We are creating models to tell the chats of the world how to behave and how to respond to us, right? Using our own data. I hate to call it artificial intelligence, to tell you the truth, because it's really
technically not.
Not, no.
It's fair
It's
call.
not. And
No,
we can
ChatGPT
debate that
is
all
not
it's all
AI.
day.
Right.
I think the thing that makes me have reservations about this, I can see where this is actually going to change, like you said, Elizabeth.
Mhm.
I'm not a big, huge believer in the uniformity, goodness of people. So my mind automatically goes to how can this be abused? Because
Mhm.
there's precedents.
Yep.
We haven't called it AI. It's nothing more than data sets, machine learning algorithms, and we saw how it's been abused in our political system,
Yeah.
social media, and the bad guys that go, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I get this. This helps my job." If you don't think the bad guys are saying this makes my job easier,
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing.
All they have to do is hack the model
hot
and
the model.
insert their own, and all of a sudden you're getting their answers.
And
Yeah,
you
but
said
it
something.
doesn't even matter. Like, we haven't even got to that point. What
Yeah.
about the fact that they're going to be fast, even if we're talking about just the language model? They're going to be able to build faster and with less ethics, less responsibility, and less honestly care about quality or precision. They are faster, they're more agile because they have less than we. And if we can't enable and empower every single one of us, we won't be able to carry the weight. So for me, AI, especially for the people that I talk to, it's about the education. It's about understanding the use case, right? And prepping for that. Like ChatGPT, like all of the language models, machine learning has been amazing, right? It's productivity, it's accessibility. Like some of the things that you can convince these things to do is insane. But at the same exact time, if you're looking at that language, you need to check it because garbage in is garbage out. Just
Yep.
like, anything that you do, you make the model. So you need to know how to check the model. You need to know where the bad guys, bad people are coming from and how they're trying to attack you. AI can make us smarter. Productivity tools will make us smarter. But if the power goes out, how are you going to fix it? It has to be here or here, depending on like which day of the week it is. And Ed's thing, like this is what I'm trying to tell everyone needs to hear this, right? Protecting the critical infrastructure, including our tools, data, and models, is not just necessary to keep companies running. It's necessary for the well-being of all of our families and our communities.
Yeah.
Relief requires it, and you can be faster and better. The models that we can use can help us do all the things we need to do, but they are biased.
Oh yeah.
They are not necessarily to be trusted, and they can easily be abused.
People need to respect what this technology is and understand it. It doesn't feel emotion. It does not feel pain. It cannot be bargained with. It cannot be reasoned with. Anybody know the quote from that? Raise your hand. Rhoda, you too young. You won't get that.
As usual.
You're right. I believe that whole discussion can be a whole discussion on one of our shows in the future about what this means. But Rod said it. It's the behavior.
Yep.
And if you program biases and bad behavior into something, like you said, garbage in, garbage out, or bad behavior in, possibly bad behavior out. I am not one of those technology theorists to say that because I am not cutting edge, bleeding edge, or totally understanding that it's bad, which is a lot of fear that I believe people are seeing. They don't understand it, but they don't understand that some version of this is already running.
You are correct. That was the biggest conversation that I've been having with people. They're like, "Oh, it's new." When we get started, I'm like, so it's mass distributed now. That means that someone has piloted it, tested it multiple times in different places in different use cases, and not just like it's not just the one whatever product name you have, right? It's everyone that got the basketball that day has been practicing with this basketball. And so now what you're seeing, that's the stuff that's out there for commercial use for like the masses. There are people that have been working on this for years. Which means their model, their technology is well advanced.
Yeah.
In what we're seeing.
Cool. So as we come up against it, this has been one of our most informative and entertaining shows that we've had.
Best show ever.
We knew that. We knew that going in though.
There you go. Elizabeth, would like you have any closing comments, perspectives, insights that you'd like to share with us? I'd like to hear it because, I hear it, but we don't hear it enough. And we don't hear it enough from the people that can make impact. And I believe you're one of the people that can make an impact and make a change. You have to be the person that people will listen to before people will listen to you. So what do you like to close our show with?
So I would say, yes, the threat is everywhere, even in your own home. But do not worry. There are many of us out here that are ready to stand beside you to help you fight it, to help you be resilient, and to help you even, guess what, become a defender yourself.
Yeah.
The safety of our children and our future, our communities, and those that we care about is dependent upon the discipline that we use to build these products, to deploy these products, and to enable and innovate these products. That also means that we need disciplined people, precise people to communicate and do the work. So if you're out there and you think that you'd like to do this, find us. If you don't think that you can do this, but you'd like to try, find us. Nothing is impossible because it's always impossible until you do it the first time. And I can say that like 4 times over. It's never happened before. And now, I'm an English major, was a software engineer at Microsoft. I don't know what that was about. I mean, seriously, I was like, you want me to build, you gonna put this code in production? Okay. No, it's good, but like you got all these people that like code stuff and stuff, and I'm new.
It's only impossible if you can't imagine you can't, and if you won't try, if you refuse to.
It's definitely not possible if you don't try. Every question not answered, every ask not asked is a no.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But be prepared. If you come find us, we will push you, and you will do it because it's necessary, right?
It's necessary. And on that, we'd like to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Don't worry. The aliens are coming. They're hungry, but we'll fend them off. Right?
With AI.
The aliens are hungry.
Sounds like
they're
Frank Miller.
famished.
They're hungry and assertive. I think they're on TikTok.
Thirsty. So, to our listeners, thank you so much. To our supporters, thank you for the support. And this has been a great closeout to a month in women in cyber security. Huge impact, huge influencers. This has got to go down as one of our best, series of shows and our podcast since the inception of this thing that we do. We're moving forward next month. We talked about it a little bit. I'm sure Rod has some closing notes, but this is good. I might have to pick your brain, Ms. Stevens, on a couple of things, especially like Rod's talking about Daredevil, the best Frank man.
Yeah, I'm talking about Daredevil. Oh,
yeah,
universe agnostic.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Same bat time, same bat channel.
See ya.
Have a good week, everyone. Talk to you next week.
Au revoir.
Peace.